More on eGlass, a new way to teach virtually and in person. This is MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by TextExpander by Smile, the makers of world-class software. Visit textexpander.com/podcast to learn more and download your free demo. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. This is part 2 in a 2-part conversation with the creators of eGlass, a new product for teaching both virtually and in person. In part 1, we found out about the origins of eGlass, where it came from and how it was developed and why it was developed. This time around, we get into a few more of the geeky details, hear from one of the individuals who not only created it, but is using it in his classes. And we talk a little bit about the philosophies of teaching online and in person and how they can intersect in eGlass. So let's go right back and get into the conversation.
Yeah.
So, hey, Bailey, if you could give me permission to share a screen,
Absolutely.
I could share a little bit of a classroom scene.
I might have to make you co-host, but let's see.
We had a mini lesson taught by Professor Anderson.
About Oakland.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oakland, California. Somebody said, "Have you ever been there?" She said, "There is no there."
Yeah.
Right. All right, pass this one.
So
the students get used.
You see in that big screen in this classroom scene almost looks transparent. The teacher, if the students just look at the big screen, and the teacher is looking at the students, if the students look at the big screen, they will feel like the teacher is speaking to them. So even in the classroom setting, not in the current setting, what Bailey is doing, this works, and this still give that a new and higher level of interaction between the students and teachers. I figured just want to share that.
No, I'm so glad you did, because that gives us a look at what it could be in person. And I mean, obviously they're side by side, but to Matt's point, if he's in a large class, this gives him an option to take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And of course, if you took that, you could put it up on a really big screen if you wanted to, a big projection screen of some kind. And again, they get that. It's going to feel a lot more like they're talking right to them.
Well, and every student has the feeling that they're in the front of the class, because now the writing that you write is actually amplified even larger, right? So the students can see the writing even easier. So there's another thing that the whiteboard can't do, right? You have to write really big so that the student in the back of the class can see. But with eGlass, your face and your writing is blown up even larger.
So I guess it's my turn to share screen. Is that right? Sure.
If you have something you want to show, Matt, that's great.
Somebody's going to have to enable it, though, because it won't let me. So this is, maybe you can see that. This is a picture of one of my auditorium classrooms at the university. And this is a 500-seat classroom. And what you see in this image is way down at the front is one of these eGlass 35-inch size units. And then that is plugging into the projection system. There are 3 screens on the projection system. The outer 2 have the image from eGlass, and the center one is the particular homework problem that we were working on. So even students in the very back, and I took this picture from the back of the classroom, can see all the writing clearly, can see the face of the presenter very clearly. Everything is crystal clear. And in this case, there was actually a student that I had demonstrating how to do a homework problem for the rest of the class. So this was a great technique that I used to try to engage the students even more. Was I would call on students from the audience to come up and demonstrate how to do homework problems. Now, they had fair warning. They volunteered to be in this pool, and then they would get an extra credit point. So it was sort of a entertaining little exercise. And the very first time I did it, I pulled a name out of the hat, and this 18-year-old kid, and I said, do you want to come up and do it? And then he said, okay, yeah, I'm ready. and he seemed really shy, and he sat down behind the glass and he put the microphone on himself and he started writing, and then he just froze, right? He looked out at the audience and he just absolutely froze. And I thought, oh, I just killed this kid. This is awful. And he didn't say anything for like 5 seconds. And finally I said, everything okay? And he said, I have never talked in front of this many people before. Is it okay if I take a selfie? I thought, all right, we got something.
But you know what, Matt? I, at the risk of telling you your business, I think you missed the point that that student did not need any training on what to do. He didn't. All he needed to do is know how to put the microphone on, come up, pick up the pen or the marker, I guess I should say, and start to do his thing. There was no training required. There's no nothing. It's just, okay, this is what I would do if I had a piece of paper or if I was turning my back to the crowd and, putting it on the whiteboard. So I love that fact. I love it that it's that approachable and that easy.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that I really wanted to accomplish with this was teachers, while incredibly skilled, are reluctant to change. And teachers that rely on their notes and being able to write with a pen, I wanted to honor that and make sure that that was still available to them. And so part of the whole point with eGlass is it's super easy to use. Bring your notes in, grab a pen, and go to town on the glass, and that's it.
Yeah. Bailey, you brought up an interesting point. Well, you used one of my favorite phrases, is death by PowerPoint, because I've died in many meetings that were PowerPoint driven. And, it's interesting. I remember earlier in my career that you remember the old overhead projectors with the grease pens and the transparencies?
Yep,
It feels
all too well.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't want to go back there, but it feels like some of that live element that could be accomplished with those has been lost in the pre-prepared PowerPoint slides. This brings it completely the whole way back, so that the presentation can be live, interactive between the teacher, the student, and the graphic asset.
Yeah, absolutely. And, PowerPoints, they serve their purpose, right? They're really good at conveying, a predetermined set of points that you want to make. In fact, a lot of teachers have most of their lesson plans in some sort of presentation or a document. So we still wanted to make sure that those can be put to use. They don't have to rewrite their lesson plans. In fact, with our software, they can bring their PowerPoints, their presentations into the software. And then those slides will actually appear on the screen and the background will be removed and the color of the text will be automatically changed to pop up against the dark background. And so teachers still have the ability to bring in all of their, prepared lesson plans into our software on the fly just by dragging and dropping it right onto the camera window. But what we want to do is we want to add that engaging element. We want to, again, going back to embodied learning. We want to bring the body, the face, the connection back into the content, which was lost, ever since people started turning their backs to write on the board. So we're hoping to get that
Bailey,
back.
do you have that demo, like an image insertion demo?
Yeah, I'd be happy to show it. Let me share my screen real quick.
As Bailey is doing that, we're not just, want to limit our presenters or teachers to just the glass. This actually blends the physical ink world and the digital media world or the digital ink world. So Bailey can demonstrate this. Although the teacher do not see this on the glass itself, but the software mix the camera image with your digital content, and they can appear seamlessly on this glass. Then you can use ink to annotate over digital content.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by Smile, the makers of world-class software like TextExpander. Are you looking for a quick way to improve your productivity? To help up the standards of your communication with your team and your customers? Improve the accuracy of that communication. Those are all things Text Expander can help with. With Text Expander, once you set up a snippet, every time you invoke it, a few keystrokes turn into a word, a sentence, a paragraph, or a page of information. And it is the same every time, with no errors or differences. More than that, you can deploy that snippet across your entire team or to only the ones you want to use it. So that customer response that you so carefully crafted is delivered with no variation and with 100% accuracy every single time. Text Expander is easy to set up, easy to deploy, and easy to use. It's also easy to get. Visit textexpander.com/podcast to get all the details and download a trial version. Then decide on how many different ways Text Expander can be used in your business to help improve efficiency and accuracy. textexpander.com/podcast. Get it today and be using it later today. textexpander.com/podcast. Thanks to Smile, the makers of Text Expander, for their support of MacVoices.
Okay, actually, you can't see my screen right now because I can't share my whole screen. But what I'm looking at right now is a PowerPoint in Microsoft PowerPoint. It has a white background. It has black and red text. Not very good to put on a black background, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that PowerPoint right here onto the image as we speak. Here I go. I'm dragging it in. I'm going to lift up and drop it in. And here it is. And you'll notice, first of all, the background is transparent. You can see through it, but the text color has been changed to white, so it pops on the background. So here's my Pythagorean theorem PowerPoint, perfect for right here, right? Because I have my physical ink writing, and I can click through the slide here. And even better, let me blow this up a little larger. I can annotate with the eGlass pens, and I can blend the digital content of my PowerPoint with the physical ink writing. And so again, G talked about blending sort of your rich media. You can also do this with videos, web content. You can literally copy paste content from a web browser and just drop it right in here and it'll populate. PNG images. You can go down the list of all the great rich media content you can bring in, thanks to the free software that you're seeing me use right now. And
Mr. Pierson, it looks like B equals 24. That's my guess.
Oh, B equals 24. Sir, did you raise your hand?
Again, that's just another enhancement, and it makes perfect sense. That way you can have the pre-prepared stuff, but have it, highlighted, related, just like there. I love the fact that it punches out the background so that it looks like it too is just floating there in space.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, typically when you're doing a screen share with like what we're doing right now, if you imagine the PowerPoint is right where Bailey is right now, then you have the presenter, and just now Bailey is looking kind of out from the glass, from the screen. That is a little bit disorienting because the presenter is looking away, not at the content.
Looking away at my computer.
Yeah, right. So this puts the presenter looking at the content being presented together with the audience. So this is a very synergistic look again.
So to be fair to Bill Gates, maybe we should really call this the rebirth of PowerPoint.
There you go.
No, Matt. This is a Mac show. This is the rebirth of Keynote, not PowerPoint.
There we go.
We
so
can do it for Keynote as well.
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't get just a little bit geeky and ask a couple questions here about exactly how this is working. The first one, I don't want to overlook this because I notice, Bailey, you are wearing a black shirt. You have no graphics or anything on it. So it is not just the image of the glass. It's the entire image that is being flipped. So I wouldn't want to have a San Diego State T-shirt or a sweatshirt on, because then that is going to destroy the illusion, because that's going to be flipped. Is that correct?
That's correct. It might be a little distracting. You don't have to start wearing shirts with text that's backwards on them. In fact, you don't really have to worry about anything that's in your background, because even without this dark backdrop, because of that chroma clear technology that we have, it darkens the background significantly. In fact, I'll show you with chroma clear turned off. I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to turn off chroma clear here and show you just what it looks like if I'm not doing the background darkening. You can probably hear me pressing buttons right now. And you can see behind me, now you're starting to see the backdrop. You're seeing various reflections that's reflecting off the glass. You don't actually have to worry about that when you're using chroma clear. See, this image looks really bad right now. I'm overexposed. The background, you're starting to see it. In fact, if I lift this up, you'll see that it's a white backdrop. But what you can do with the chroma clear is you drop the exposure here, and it starts adjusting the glass lighting to make me pop and only me pop. And the ink pop too. In fact, I can control even the ink. I can make the ink completely disappear to where now all you can see is me. I can do the opposite. I can bring the ink back, and I can make me completely disappear. And so if I stop sharing here, you're going to see from this perspective, I'm still in a bright room and you can see my face completely. But because of the chroma clear technology, I'm going to share again and show you again what that looks like. Now I'm gone, but you can see my ink very well. In fact, let me pull out a marker and write on the glass. How cool is that? You're seeing the ink pretty much appear by itself, because what I can do is I can direct my students. If I want my students or people in my presentation to focus on the content, boom, I'm gone. And now all you see is the content. Let me minimize.
I don't think I'll finish that physics lesson for 2 hours with this way.
But it works the opposite too. I can make the ink go away so they focus on my face. If I really want their undivided attention, I want to have a heart-to-heart, right? I can do that with this chroma clear technology.
So thank you. That's a perfect segue for the next question. The chroma clear technology is obviously one of the things that is driving this. Is there anything special about the glass itself? Matt, you were talking about some of that about earlier when we started, about how the ink disrupts the way that the light is being driven into the glass. Is this special glass?
It is special glass in that sense. There are particular chemical compositions in the glass that are important to achieve this result. It's also hardened and tempered and safe and everything like that, and also very scratch resistant. So even after years of erasing the ink, you don't develop any scratches in the glass. So yes, it is special glass in that sense.
By the way, you just use any cloth to erase. It's just like a dry erase, like a whiteboard.
Mm-hmm.
So how about the markers? Are they special markers in any way, other than just obviously being different colors?
So they are different colors. Bailey has blue right there. What we've found that works really well is color ink that has a little bit of fluorescein in it. Fluorescein is, of course, a fluorescent material, and that tends to pop out a little bit more. You can use regular dry erase markers on this if you want to do it against a light background, But if you're doing it against a dark background, you really want the pen to light up, then you need to use they're called neon or fluorescent dry erase markers.
Right, but they're not something that has to be purchased from you or a specific brand for this. They're something you could go and just get a neon marker as long as they have that fluorescein.
Correct. Yeah, they're commercially available.
Okay. Now we're obviously recording this on Zoom, so that creates some limitations for the resolution, and it's kind of hard to judge when doing this. What kind of resolution does that camera have that is shooting Bailey and capturing everything?
So this is a miniature camera, but we designed the lenses, all the optics, and the digital imaging, the sensor from and to the signal processing, all specially designed for the glass. The color tone is different. You notice the illumination on the glass is different. So the color processing has to be specially tuned. And then the imaging processor is able to basically stream up to 4K at 30 frames. But normally we recommend you just do 1080p at 30 frames per second. For the 35-inch, this is plenty of clarity and fast enough video. And when you do Zoom, typically it got kind of limited down to 720p. But you can record at 1080p and post the video online. So it works. You can achieve great clarity with this. If you go to 4K, just make sure that your computer is fast enough, get all the right configurations, and you can actually record this in 4K.
Perfect. Now, in demonstrating this and then also showing the videos and the photos, it looks like there are two models that we've seen. The one that is desktop size that Bailey is sitting in front of, and then there's the one that, Matt, I believe we saw you teaching your class with.
Yeah, we have a couple different sizes that we're offering right now. There's a 35-inch and a 50-inch. And we are contemplating adding other sizes to the mix as well. These are sort of the two ideal sizes. 35-inch is something you would typically sit behind, put it on a desk, whereas the 50-inch allows you a little more room. You can stand behind it. You can wave your arms a little bit more. So we kind of call it the TV versus the theater version, right? Are you on stage or are you behind the TV camera?
I like it. So the obvious question we have to ask, what kind of pricing do we have for these units? Because with all this technology, it's not something that is going to be $19.95.
Well, Ji, you want to take that one?
We have two sizes, so it's 35 and 50-inch, and the 35-inch is MSRP'd around $21.98, and the other one is about like $1,000 higher. So with volume, there could be volume discount and educational discount.
Okay. And what's the best way for folks to approach you all if they are interested in one of the products, or if they are a school district or school system or university for a potential volume discount?
They can contact either company, search for eGlass. We have a website called HoverCam.com, and Matt's website is Learning Glass Solutions.
It's learning.glass is our URL. Great.
Gentlemen, thank you. This was supposed to be a product demo, and it turned into a great product demo as well as a discussion of teaching and how to go about communicating a little bit better using digital tools. And I greatly appreciate all of you giving your time. Really very, very interesting. I guess I personally want to stress that I'm looking at this through a different lens. Sorry for the pun. But looking at business presentations, if you're someone that does business presentations and remote presentations, not just because of the pandemic, but as a job, this would be an incredible enhancement to what you can offer your clients. So look at this this product from a lot of different angles. It's very, very interesting.
Chuck, thank you for
Gentlemen,
having us.
thank you very much for all your time. I know we went a little longer than I anticipated, but it's been a lot of fun, and I hope the viewers get a lot out of it.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. It was a real pleasure talking to you.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. I hope you got as much out of this as I did. I find this fascinating. I find the whole idea of presentations fascinating, and this just adds one more tool if you were doing it at this level as a professional. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.